This is the TSG Multimedia Podcast for August of 2024. We're sponsored this month by Podomatic and the TSG Train Crew on Patreon. Thank you very much. This is the longest continuously running train-related podcast of the 21st century, now in our 15th year. I'm John, your host, and we have a lot to cover this month, including a visit from one of our longtime viewers all the way from down under, an excursion out to Donner Pass to catch the big boy as it left California on its way back home. Not 1, 2, 3, or even 4, but count them, 5 layout tour shoots, 2 op sessions, and I'm just back from the second epic trip of 2024 out to Utah, where 4 of the layout shoots and 1 of the op sessions took place. In addition to all that, we had another big boy chase as well as some assorted rail fanning out in that region. So let's get started. We're doing something train related today, or in this case model train related today. We're at Just Trains in Concord, which will be gone soon, and we're going to document this layout. It's been here forever. It's been on my radar to do a video here for a long time, but I was just talking to Wes, the owner of the place, now that you think about a place like this that's been around for, 40 years or whatever. It's been here a long time, and it's been in this space a long time, and you think it'll never move. Well, they're having to move, and so they're going to have a new place, and the going theory is that there's not enough space in the new place for this. So we're going to document it here today. And part of what's behind me here came off of Kermit Paul's layout. Kermit Paul was a pretty important figure in model railroading in the Bay Area. So there's history here and fits in with what we do. So that's what we're doing today. So we've just finished our recording here. It's a cool layout. Like I said before, I've had this on my radar for a really long time. This shop's been here forever. Any final thoughts from you, Wes?
No, just thanking everybody who's been a patron of ours for the last 40 years, everybody that's come down and helped us move, everybody who's donated, and make sure you come and see us. We're not going away. We're still going to be going. We're going to be here another 40 years. Yeah, come see us, 1170 Burnett Avenue, Sweet L, over in Concord, behind Trader Joe's, Home Depot. Look forward to seeing you guys soon.
And the last thing I'd like to say before we close this is I'm going to endeavor to have the layout tour that we shot here today ready for probably 2 weeks from now. And that'll be kind of a tie-in with the new Just Trains at the location that Wes just mentioned, opening this Tuesday. So make sure to go buy some stuff, visit the new location. I know we're going to go out there and see the location sometime in the near future. I'll probably have a little podcast bit on that just because we've been following this whole process from the close and the move and the new opening and, of course, the layout tour. So that's it for today. We'll see you on the next update. You might remember there's a guy that sends pictures from Australia from the Puffing Billy Railroad, usually, named Lucas Woodward. That's him. So Lucas is on a big trip in the United States from Australia and has gone all over the place. And I'll ask you about it later, Lucas.
Sounds good.
To give people a little recap of what you've been doing while you're here, because he's been here for like a month.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lucas is visiting for basically for today. and we're going to look at some layouts that you've seen on the podcast recently, and some that you haven't seen on the podcast recently, but I promised I'd show him some layouts when he came out here, so that's what we're doing today. Should be fun.
Very keen for it.
So the first layout that we're stopping at today is the Western Pacific 1938 that was built by Jim Diaz. It's a great layout. You can see it behind me. The modeling is superb, and Jim's a really nice guy. So a lot of people this week, actually today and tomorrow, are going to see a scene very similar to this when the big boy shows up in Portola.
Yeah, I know. I got an email from the museum inviting me up there. Mm-hmm. I'm a member.
So what I like to do when I bring people to layouts and share it on the podcast is get their impression of what they just saw. So what did you think, Lucas? I mean, you like model railroads, right?
Yeah, yep.
What did you think about what you just saw?
I was very impressed. I'd never seen a layout of Feather River Canyon or the Western Pacific for that matter. And I was really impressed at the detail of it and how he's picked a specific time, just 1938, which is a good time because it's all steam. I was very impressed. It's a good layout, and the spacing of the aisles was excellent. So I was very impressed.
All right, you heard it from the guy himself. Yeah, it's going to be fun for you to watch the podcast and see yourself. So our second stop today is the Yosemite Valley Railroad. That's from Jack Burgess. This layout is just around the corner from the one that we were just at. And this is one of the layouts that we'd want to look at today anyway. So here we are. You can hear Jack in the background talking to Lucas, giving him the royal treatment here. So we'll be back with some more shortly.
So there's a rumor around that I'm going to tear my layout out in October. Not correct. It is not going anywhere.
You heard it here from the guy. What'd you think, Lucas?
I'm speechless. That is seriously one of, if not the best layouts I've ever seen. I'm mind blown at the moment. There's the amount of detail he's gone into it, and all the extra stuff that he's added into, right?
We're on our way to another layout. It's like a whirlwind layout tour day. So we'll be back. So our next stop here today is Dave Adams' Durlin branch. You've seen this on the channel, a number of years ago. And Dave's just showing Lucas around. This is another one of my favorites because it models the Denver and Rio Grande pretty faithfully. The modeling itself and the equipment and everything and the way the equipment runs is just superb. So we'll get Lucas's reaction later. Hey, we're just leaving Dave's house now, and since we've been doing the instant reaction videos today, let's get an instant reaction.
I was very impressed with that layout, especially with the previous experience of going up to Durango and seeing the Colorado narrow gauge a few weeks ago. It felt like I was back there just in 0-3, and it was a brilliant layout, and got to have a drive of the T12 there, so that was good fun. And it was a very nice layout. Certainly meant for operating, that's for sure. Dave, I was very impressed.
Yeah, Dave's a big time operator.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're off to one more, and then we have even more stuff to do after that. So let's just get going and see how it turns out.
Trains.
We're at Bob Poli's FN3 indoor layout of the West Side Lumber Company. Bob actually scratch builds almost everything It's pretty amazing.
Kids stopped by.
Hey, it's time for our instant reaction. That was Bob Poli's West Side, and this guy couldn't believe his eyes.
I walked in the room, I was like, what the heck? It was awesome. Seriously, insane. Like,
Yeah.
I do 1 to 19 live steam. So seeing stuff indoors in a very similar scale, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was incredible. Really was.
What's cool about it to me is the level of super detailing that you can get in a larger scale like that is kind of off the charts. Because,
Big time.
I'm used to seeing HO scale,
Yeah.
sometimes O scale, like Dave's, right? Which is
Yep.
also
Yep.
off the charts.
Absolutely.
And you blow that up again, twice as big.
Yeah.
And actually, it's a little more than twice as big, isn't it? Am I doing my math right?
Yeah, it'd be close to that.
1 to 48 and 1 to 20. So 1 to 20 is bigger than
Yeah.
twice. Yeah, we just had a math lesson on the podcast. But the point is to get something that much bigger, you can really see the details. And Bob mentioned when we were talking to him that if you don't have the details, it doesn't look right anyway.
That's right. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's one of those layouts that every time I go, I'm just wowed all over again.
Oh,
So I don't think about it, and I see it maybe once a year or something like that. And whenever I do, I'm just like super impressed yet again.
Yeah.
So
I completely understand that. That lad is insane. And to think he scratch built those shays.
yep. Yep. We are actually parked at the SBHRS now, and that's what we're going to do. So maybe we'll have some more instant reactions. There's a couple layouts in here. Maybe not quite to the level that we've been looking at today, but
Still a layout.
they're layouts, and there's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll get our guest podcast celebrity, I guess is what this is. Automatic reaction to the SBHRS next, I suppose.
Sounds good.
Hi, this is you never know who you'll run into. As I'm here, this is actually important. These are two of our contributors to the monthly catches. We have Ben Harp over here that's always sending interesting stuff, and of course Lucas that we've been hanging around with all day.
Mate from down under.
That's right. Hey, down.
this is our last thing, and it's the only thing I think I'm going to do that's semi-train related today, which is we're here in Coyote, which is where the depot that I've been covering the movement of came from. We have it's one of my favorite shots in the Army. We have a power plant behind us off to our left, and the Coast Starlight is supposed to be running on time today.
Touch wood.
So it should be through here pretty soon, and that'll be the next thing you see, and probably the last thing for this podcast segment. It turned out that we missed the Coast Starlight because it ran a little late, and we had to get Lucas to his train, which is just now pulling into Great America Station. We were planning, oh look, there goes a light rail over the top there. We were planning to have him depart from the San Jose station, but we were too late. So we had to take him to the Great America Station, which is about 10 minutes up the line. And we made it here with about 5 or so minutes to spare. So he's getting on the train right now. And we're going to watch as the train departs here. I'll give you my impressions of his visit, though, while we're waiting for the train to depart. That was really cool. Super nice guy. And maybe even nicer than I expected. Usually I don't go into meeting new people with any expectations, and I didn't really. So that makes it easy to exceed expectations, I suppose. And here we go. Thanks for the visit, Lucas. It was great to meet you, and even better to hang out. Hope we can do it again sometime. Hi, I'm sitting at my desk doing some editing that needs to be done for the podcast, and I thought I'd come on and tell you about what we did this past weekend. So, Union Pacific's 4014, that's the big boy, it came out to the Sacramento region last week at about the same time when Lucas was leaving my area, the Bay Area. And I'd originally planned to go document the big boy's arrival when it came down through the Feather River Canyon, but our plans fell through on that. So it's okay, though, because the catch of the month will make up for that. Lots of people sent in pictures of the big boy coming down the canyon, so you'll see that later. But anyway, what we did do was go see the big boy leaving the Sacramento area over Donner Pass. Our friends Wes and Claudia invited us a couple months ago to go with them. So we headed out to the Sacramento area last Saturday, and then on Sunday we went to a place called Alta to catch the train. It was my intention all along to pick a spot and just document what we could in the one spot, because I did not want to get in the rat race of trying to chase the thing over Donner Pass with thousands of other rail fans and foamers and, and regular traffic on top of that. So anyway, we went to Alta and just set up. And then while we were there, Wes said, well, I know this other place. So Jack and Jackie Burgess also were at Alta, and they stayed with Sydney in the Alta proper with one of the cameras. And then I went with Wes and Claudia, and also our friend James, him from Silicon Valley Lines, and also him from Chasing Trains as the Portola prospector. He was also up there. So James, Wes, and Claudia and I went to another place that was kind of off the beaten path, that was a little south and a little east of Alta, a little further up the pass, which was a really good shot. So we ended up staying split up, and that allowed us to catch it really in two places, which was pretty cool. So anyway, as you may have heard, the train got delayed for a few hours, but while we were waiting, we were also able to catch a couple of Amtrak trains and a big stack train. Also, a high railer came through right before Big Boy came. Of course, they were sort of monitoring the track ahead to make sure there weren't any trees or anything. So that's why it got delayed. It hit a tree trunk or something like that. But anyway, eventually the big boy did get there, and it was a really great show. And so I want to thank Wes and Claudia for their hospitality and for that top secret spot that we went to. And all in all, it was just a great time with great people, and we always appreciate that. So thanks very much, Wes and Claudia, and really everybody else that we saw. It was just a great time overall last weekend. We're doing something train related today. I've been editing all day, and now we're at an afternoon/evening op session at Ray Turner's Mystic Mountain Garden Railroad.
Hey, that's a serious problem. You just polluted this whole neighborhood, Ray.
We have a serious derailment here that was actually done by Ray himself.
Buddy.
They roll all the way down the hill. It's a good thing that little pond right there is empty, or else we might have had a pollution.
Right? Seriously.
We might have had to call the EPA on you, Ray.
Recent conventions, do you have to catch a car?
Oh, yes. Well, from a lot of them. Yeah.
This was the first time I've ever operated anywhere that I can remember that all I did was like half of a job. So what ended up happening was we brought our daughter with us, and she took over for me as the engineer about halfway through our job, and I just talked to Ray the whole rest of the time. And anyway, it was a really fun session. The sunset was just amazing, as always, on the sunset ops. And Ray is a great host with a really fantastic layout. And thanks, Ray. We had a lot of fun, and nice to have something to do that's relaxing after editing all day. So I appreciated it. On July 17th, we went live with last month's episode of Talking Trains. Murph and I had a very interesting discussion with Steve Gust about what real railroad dispatchers do. Steve was a dispatcher and a dispatcher trainer in his career with both the Southern Pacific and Union Pacific Railroads. This was another great episode that you will want to watch on the replay if you missed us live. Hi, we're doing something train related today. Well, kind of. We're off on our epic trip to Utah. We're going to be gone for 7 days. And on this trip, we're going to try to catch the big boy, because it's actually out there now. that's just going to be for one day tomorrow. And then I have 4 layout tour videos lined up. So it's a lot of work going to be happening. And should be interesting. I'm sure I'll come back with updates as they happen. Hi, we're doing something train related today, and this is you never know who you'll run into. Actually, I did know I was going to run into him. It's Cameron.
I just want to say, I pointed this place out.
Yeah, we were on the phone, I don't know, a month ago, trying to plan for today, and this guy found this place that we're about to shoot the big boy today. So anyway, that's what we're doing today, is following the big boy around a little bit, not a lot, and then that's it. Yeah, just a little. These guys are here today.
Look, I'm a foamer.
Oh, big boy. Yeah. Gary, is that your big boy?
That's my big boy.
Gary, you forgot your big boy shirt, Gary.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. All right. So we're foaming today. This is a podcast segment. And by the way, it's about
8:10.
It's about 8:10.
Local time.
We got a shot here at the Pleasant View Front Runner Station. It's actually closed, but we're now on our way to another spot, and I'll tell you about that later. But I do want to mention about the Pleasant View Station's shot that you just saw. It's not the most scenic area, but boy, the sun was perfect. The lighting on that shot was just wonderful. So really happy about that. We'll be back with another update later. So that was the second shot, and I think the only other shot we're going to get of the big boy on this trip anyway. And boy, tell you what, both of the shots we got of big boy on this trip were really good, at least as far as the lighting goes and the composition. Very, very nice shots. And I actually used my drone for this last one, so here's a little preview of that. Also a very nice shot. So we're going to go down to a place called Brigham City right now. Going to go look at the depot there. Haven't been there before, at least not to the depot. We've been to Brigham City though. Anyway, we're headed down to Brigham City now. And look who's here. It's that guy again. I'm back again with an update for the podcast here. We came out to a place called Echo, which is between, I guess, Ogden and Evanston, Wyoming. And we're just waiting for some trains to come through here. There's one particular train, which is the UP Heritage Fleet that was, all those passenger cars were cut off from the big boys train in Ogden this morning. And they're going to take them back to wherever they came from, I think Council Bluffs. So we're waiting for something to happen. I realized this morning, or maybe about an hour ago, that we could have filmed a Chasing Trains episode today, but I just wasn't in that mode this morning. So I guess this podcast segment will have to suffice as a Chasing Trains light episode. But rest assured that we're still giving each other a lot of crap here today. Hi, so we're still here at Echo, and we just kind of decided, I think, to hang out here and wait for stuff to go by. We have, I think, eventually are going to have the Heritage UP stuff come up through here. I know that they had a crew call at 2:30, and usually that means they leave pretty soon after that. But it's been a while, and they still haven't come through here yet. But we have seen some freight trains and saw a patched former SP. I think it was a -9 or something. And also got the Katy Heritage unit on the last train that came through, which is pretty cool. So it's almost like seeing two Heritage units in the same, well, really three if you count the Western Pacific Heritage unit that we saw earlier with the big boy. We got all kinds of good catches today. This is, hanging out, having fun. Hi, we were just leaving the spot we were at up in Echo, and as we were driving down through Weber Canyon here, we saw a red signal on the main line. So there's another train coming up the hill. So we pulled off at this really nice little river area, and we're going to try to catch it. You'll see that next if it comes.
Oh, I hate this tripod.
What happened, Gary?
I just can't get it level.
Do you want my help?
No.
That was the train we were waiting for. Now we can go home happy. So that may be the last update for the day. If it is, I'll see you tomorrow. We're doing 4 layout tours over the next few days. So lots and lots of work. Hi, we did something train related or railroad related today. This was the first of 4 layout tour shoots. I'm here with James Gronwald. He has a really beautiful HO scale Denver and Rio Grande layout. James, thanks for having us. And what would you tell people if you had 30 seconds or a minute to tell the world what your layout is?
Well, I started it in 2009, and from not really knowing how to model, it has turned into one really beautiful railroad, and I've learned so many things along the way. So get into model railroading, it's fun.
Hi, we did something train related today. I'm at the layout of Pat Bray, and he has a beautiful Southern Pacific / Santa Fe / Union Pacific layout here in Sandy, Utah. And we're kind of burnt right now, but we just spent the last several hours recording a layout tour video. And Pat, what would you tell people about your layout if you had 30 seconds to...
Well, it's a big switching layout. I do primarily switching activities, and John has brought in some incredible camera gear, so he could probably make me look really good. I'm hoping to see the best. So you guys tune in and see this thing.
So we're doing something train related yet again today. This is the third of 4 layout videos on this trip. We're at Steve Blodgett's HO scale, late 1800s, beautiful layout, and we just finished our recording. Steve, what would you tell people if you had 30 seconds on front of a bunch of people to talk about your layout?
Well, as I tell people all the time, how fun model railroading is, and that it's a way to express your artistic values. You can do construction, electronics, history, so it combines so many skills, and it's really quite fun. And you really can't beat that. A hobby that keeps you at home and is a lot of fun. I encourage you to think about model railroading, and you know the kids love it anyway, right?
I can't say any more than that. Hi, so we're doing something train related this evening. When we got back to Alvin's house, he was there, and he says, hey, you want to go look at trains? So I said, well, I'm wearing the shirt, so let's go do it. So we're sitting out at a street here that we've rail fanned many times before and just catching whatever comes through. And right now we have another front runner. This one's a northbound, so we'll get to see the engine pulling the train. So should be good.
So this train is a Utah Railway, a local job. They come from Grant Y, right? And they're coming from the south, and they need to back west to feed Garfield, Salt Lake, and Western. I'm assuming it's oil cars to power the power plant that's there, the Gadsby power plant. So they come to the north here, just a little bit past North Yard. Homeboy jumps off the train and the train pulls forward. and then they wait for the switch to flip so they can head west to go feed Salt Lake, Garfield, and Western. He hops on the back to protect the shove with his little brake handle pole, you know. So
That's what that was.
trains.
Right, so that's it for today. We caught some trains out here, and now we're done. Got a long day tomorrow.
Okay, bye.
Hi, we're in Evanston today. It's about halfway through the day, and we've been seeing a whole bunch of people that I remember from last time, and they remember shooting the video last time. It's really a good bunch of people here, and we're just breaking for a minute for lunch, so I thought I'd do a quick little blurb here on the podcast to give you an update. We'll be coming back after lunch to do a few more recordings with a few more people, and then we'll be done here. But it gives you an idea that, you know, shoots like this tend to be all-day things, and this is no exception.
So,
are you going to ask me a question?
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question?
Did you want to, because you start.
I'll start. One of the cool things about coming to these events like this is you run into people that you know. This is Dale. You know him as Toyman Television right here on YouTube. I think our channels are almost identical size-wise, but he does better videos because he's a Hollywood guy. He's really smart.
Well, see, I believe in the philosophy of fix it and post.
Oh,
So I just shoot everything, and most of it's garbage.
I
and
shoot
then
a
I
lot
fix it in post, you know?
It's funny you should mention that because just recently I built a sign. My studio's in an outbuilding in my backyard, and I built a Southern Pacific sign that says post on it, and I hung it up on the wall, the outside wall, so it looks like a little depot or a little Southern Pacific station called post, and I fix everything in post as well. So I relate. And off camera, I'm going to show him a picture of it right now.
Sweet.
Gary's been out rail fanning all day here. Caught like 10 trains, which is really good. And Alvin was kind of in between everything, helping out inside, and Sydney also was helping out inside. I think we got a lot of very good footage of really good modules and super nice people here. And I'm looking forward to hopefully doing it again in another 3 years when they do it again. Hi, we're doing something train related today. At Doug Jolley's Denver and Rio Grande layout here, running in an op session. It wasn't really something that we had planned to do originally, but you can see a video layout tour of this layout here on the channel if you search for Doug Jolley, Jolley. It's a really nice layout. It's S-scale, which is something you don't see every day. And I've never operated here till today, so this is really cool.
Oh, thank you.
I'll show you some video of our job. One of the cool things about this job is that we're transporting live loads. We had to turn the train on a Y up here. And what's interesting about this job is it's utilizing areas of this layout and track that we did not cover during the layout tour, because it's just, over track that's not really scenic or done. So I'm seeing parts of this layout that I didn't really know existed. So it's pretty cool. Makes me realize the layout's even bigger than I thought it was. This is another one of those times when the layout's too tall for the operators. At least for one of the operators. So once we have our loads all unloaded, we have to bring our train back to where we started to get it all loaded again. And this is actually one of my favorite scenes on the layout. This big low bridge. It's really pretty. We're back to working on the live loads here, and if you can see on the fascia here, there's a chute control. If you look underneath, there's a little lever here, and then up top there's one chute that works, and you can see it'll fill the cars, and we're just pulling the cars ahead one at a time to fill them. It's pretty cool. Just got back a few minutes ago from Doug's, and the second job I started to do had live coal loads, which I just got the train loaded and then we had to go, but what a lot of fun. So we had a great group of people over there tonight, and Doug made some chili dogs, his homemade chili, I guess. It was really good. So anyway, it was a great time had by all, and want to thank Doug for his hospitality, and it was really great to see you again, Doug. I'm looking forward to coming back some other time and getting to finish that coal job, because Seemed like a lot of fun. So we're headed back tomorrow. I don't know how much of an update I'll be doing. Probably not too much because it's just driving across the desert. So if you don't see me again, that'll do it for the second epic trip of 2024 to the Salt Lake City area. Okay, now that we're all caught up, I wanted to tell you about something I saw this morning. When I get back from a trip like the one you just heard about, there's a lot of logging media into folders that will make the clips easy to find later. While I was doing that this morning, with my email open in the background when I heard the notification of a new email that came in. The email was a notification of this comment being posted to a recent podcast. The message is a very positive comment from Dennis Arms 3473 about what we do here, and I want to talk about that for just a minute. First off, thanks very much for the compliment, and thanks also for understanding what I'm trying to do here, maybe more than most viewers do. The whole point of what we're doing here is to share really cool things that people might not get to see otherwise, and along the way, we want to include as many people as possible. People who might not be able to get out and about to train shows, conventions, meetings, and other railroad-related events, for example. I want to show interesting things and share insights or tips and tricks that I learn along the way. I always seek to emphasize the positive aspect of what's being covered. I go out of my way not to present a negative message that will discourage. And I try equally as hard to find ways to present things that will encourage viewers instead of discouraging them. My goal is for you to experience as much positivity as possible here, and hopefully you will be inspired by what we're presenting. Now for this month's catches. With the big boy coming out to my region, a lot of people sent in their shots of it either on the way in or public display or on its way home. Ethan Doty sent these shots from the Western Pacific Museum in Portola, California from the Big Boy event held there on July 10th. The first shot shows 40:14 in the morning before any of the visitors arrived. This is Western Pacific 165 at Malfunction Junction. Here's Union Pacific 1983. That's the Western Pacific Heritage Unit. Here we see 40:14 in the afternoon sun with the crowd. And finally, here's WP 165 having pulled up to the ramp track to offload visitors. Our friend Steve Rediker sent in this photo, not of the big boy, but of himself posing with the Union Pacific police officers he met while in Portola. Since this is Steve's photo, I'm going to show it in black and white now. That's just like his layout, which is also modeled in black and white. I've provided a link in the description of this video so you can check out Steve's layout when you're done watching here. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. John Link sent this video of the big boy that he caught in Quincy when the train came through the junction there. Guy Cantwell sent in these shots from his big boy experience in Roseville when it was on public display. While we're looking at these shots, I want to mention that Guy is also a superb modeler whose Willoughby Lines layout was featured right here on the channel. Check the description below for a link to that video when you're done watching this podcast. Lucas Woodward, that's the same guy we saw earlier at the start of this podcast, he made it back home safely and he sent in the following catches. The first photo is a 1:19 scale AccuCraft NA class model of Puffing Billy Locomotive 6A, hauling a consist of clear-story roofed cars, all laser-cut kits, from December of 2023. The next photo is of 12-inch gauge locomotives Udlow and Merlin at Wombat Junction on the privately owned Linton Railway. Both engines were under steam for the annual Christmas running day on December 23rd of 2023. The third photo was at Steam Rail Victoria's Newport Workshops. They have an event called Open Days that was held on March 9th through the 11th of this year. For the first time ever, 4 Scottish-built R-Class Hudsons were lined up with 3 of them under steam. The next sketch shows Puffing Billy Locomotive 12A at Emerald in the early hours of April 25th, 2024 for the Anzac Day Dawn Remembrance Service. The locomotive was fitted with a broad gauge 5-chime whistle which was sounded at the end of the service. This photo is 6 days later on May 1st as oil-burning Puffing Billy Locomotive 14A waits to run around its train at Lakeside after a spectacular night run from Belgrave for the Volunteers Awards Night. And finally, the last 4 photos are Lucas's favorite shots from his 2-week visit to the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. This month's model catch is a project by Brian Veek, who sent photos of a project he recently completed using Class 1 ModelWorks wheel sets like the ones you saw here on a product spotlight recently. Brian used his Class 1 ModelWorks wheel sets to create a flatbed truckload. Working from this prototype photo, Brian prepared the wheel sets by first spraying them with dull coat, and then he applied red iron oxide pan pastel. Once that was done, he used a toothpick to clear the rust color off the white label on the wheel face. He then sealed his work with another layer of dull coat, then used a Vallejo light rust wash, being careful not to hit the white labels. The finishing touch was to put the load on a Lone Star flatbed trailer. Brian said there's still the small matter of adding wooden 2x4 rails for the wheel sets to sit on, and of course securing the load. But so far, I think you'll agree the weathering looks fantastic. Check out Brian's Grain Express channel by clicking the link in the description of this video. If you have a catch you'd like to share, please send it to podcast@tsgmultimedia.com. Be sure you own the shots and tell us the what's, whens, and wheres of the shots you send in. Now I'm going to ask you to join the TSG Train Crew on Patreon, because everything we produce here takes resources. Not just time, but money as well. When I started the Train Crew, my hope was that maybe 1% of our viewers would support the channel to the tune of as little as $2 a month. Well, it didn't end up happening that way, but you can still add your support to our efforts. In return, you get behind-the-scenes access as well as private previews of the featured content that's posted to the channel on weekends. There's also the chance to score deals on the models we show off on product spotlights here. So please, support this channel by going to patreon.com/tsgmultimedia. If you don't like the idea of a recurring monthly amount, you can use PayPal to support us by going to paypal.com/paypalme/tsgmultimedia and support us there. George Gradden did this recently, and I want to thank him for that. So if you're watching, George, thanks a million. I hope you'll wear your TSG Train Crew shirt proudly. Speaking of TSG swag, you can also help support our work by getting some TSG branded stuff from the link provided in the description below this video. If you don't like that idea, simply share the content you like the most on your social media. All you need to do to make that happen is use the share button that YouTube conveniently provides on every video, and then select the platform you want to use, or simply copy the link and paste it into your favorite social media platform manually. That's completely free, and it also helps a lot. Check this video's description for all of these options. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.